Hi guys and welcome back. I will continue reading to you Dragon Masters Rise of the Earth Dragon by Tracy West and published by Scholastic Incorporated and Branches. So let's continue reading. Chapter 11. A Noise in the Night. Good job cleaning worm scales, Drake, Griffith said, walking into the cave. Drake wasn't going to say anything about what Worm had shown him. Not yet. But he did have a question for Griffith. How did the dragons get here? He asked. The king's soldiers searched far and wide. Griffith replied, It is not easy to find a dragon. Most people had never seen one, but the king did not give up. His soldiers were able to capture these four. Did the dragons want to come here? Drake asked. The king does not always think about what dragons want, Griffith said darkly. Now, come, it is time for supper. After they ate, Bo and Drake went to their room. Bo was teaching him how to write the alphabet. Bo drew a capital and a D and a lowercase d. See, Bo said, the big D looks like a dragon with a big belly. He drew a picture on the paper, like Vulcan, Drake said with a laugh. Bo laughed too. Moonlight glinted off Bo's dragonstone. It reminded Drake of something he'd wanted to ask Bo about. Does your stone ever glow? Drake asked. Bo shook his head. No, he said. Why do you ask? It's just... I thought I saw mine glow once, Drake said, when I was with Worm. That's interesting, Bo said. You should tell Griffith. Drake nodded. Tomorrow, he said. Drake rose of the letter D before he went to sleep. He thought he would dream of these or maybe Worm again, but just after he climbed into bed, thunk, Drake heard a loud noise. He sat up and saw two figures standing by Bo's bed. Chapter 12. A Sneaky Plan. Two fingers turned around. It was Rory and Anna. What do you want? Drake asked. Go back to sleep, Rory snapped. Why should I? He snapped back. Drake was tired of Rory being so bossy. Yeah, why should he? Bo said. And why are you two here? Anna spoke up. We are going to bring our dragons outside, while the rest of the castle is asleep. Do you guys want to come? You can bring Worm and Shoe. This is a bad idea, Bo said. No, it's not, Rory said. We're dragon masters. We should be able to take our dragons out whenever we want to. You have a point, Drake agreed. And I do think Worm would like to go outside again. Bo looked worried. What if Griffith finds out? He asked. What if the king finds out? They won't find out, Roy said. So long as neither of you say anything. She looked them both in the eyes. Well, come on then, said Anna. Drake slipped on his shoes. He followed the others down the hall. The door to Griffith's room was open. He was snoring loudly. Zzz, zzz, or shh. Rory put a finger to her lips. Shush. Or shh. as they tiptoed past the door. Drake peeked inside. The wizard's long beard flew up every time he snored. The Dragon Masters walked down the stairs. The guard in front of the training room door was asleep too. "That's Simon," Rory whispered. "He always falls asleep." They tiptoed past Simon and into the training room. The torches were not lit, so the room was black. Rory lit a candle, then she passed candles to each of them. "Now let's get the dragons," she said, still whispering. They reached Vulcan's cave first. Rory opened the gate. "Wake up, Vulcan," she said. "We are going outside." Grumbling, Vulcan got to his feet. Anna and Bo woke up their dragons. Drake went to Worm's cave. "Worm, do you want to go outside?" Drake asked. Worm lifted his head. Drake's eyes shot wide open. They stared right at Drake. Drake got a strange feeling. "Come on, Worm," Drake said. But Worm didn't move. He just stared at Drake. Drake is he trying to tell me something? Drake wondered. Rory, Anna, and Bo walked to Worm's cave. "Is Worm coming?" Rory asked. Suddenly, Drake froze. He heard words in his head. "Do not go into the tunnel." Chapter 13. Trouble in the Tunnel. Did Worm just speak to me? Through his thoughts, Drake did not know what to think. But he had feeling those words of warning had come from Worm. "Drake, what's the matter?" Anna asked. I'm not sure," he said. What would they think if I told them I just heard words in my head? Worm doesn't want to go. "Fine, stay there. Be a big chicken," Rory snapped. "I didn't say I was staying," Drake shot back. "I'll come along without Worm." As soon as he said it, Worm crawled out of the cave. "Look, he's coming with us," Anna said. Drake didn't hear any more words in his head. Maybe Worm had changed his mind. Rory led Vulcan forward. "Let's get moving." They headed into a long tunnel that led outside. The torches on the wall weren't lit, and the candles weren't doing much to light things up. "Kapiri can light the way," Anna said. But before she could give the command, Rory cried out, "Look!" Drake craned his neck to look around the dragons in front of him. Then he saw it. A glowing red orb floated toward them. It grew bigger and bigger as it got closer. "That looks like wizard magic," Anna cried. "But it's not Griffith's magic," said Bo. "It feels scary." Just then, Vulcan let out a loud roar. His big tail thrashed back and forth. "Calm down, Vulcan," Rory yelled. But her dragon was very upset. Worm looked fine. In fact, he didn't have any dust on him. Everybody else was pretty dirty. "Is everybody okay?" Drake asked. Anna was on the ground. Bo helped her up. I'm fine, Anna, she said. That was scary though. Rory walked over. I'm sorry, she said. I don't know why that weird ball of light made Vulcan freak out. Drake looked around. Thankfully, it's gone now. We should get back, Bo said nervously. Drake looked past Worm. The tunnel was blocked with rocks and dirt. I don't even think we can, Drake said. The way outside is blocked too, Rory said. We're trapped. Said Bo. He turned pale. Anna's dragon made a sad sound. It's okay, Kapiri, Anna said, stroking Kapiri's snout. Can you give us some light, please? Kapiri opened her mouth and a beautiful ball of light came out. The light hung in the air. Vulcan is strong, Rory said. He should be able to push through the rocks. Vulcan was calmer now that the red orb was gone. He pushed at the rock wall. But the rocks didn't budge. Come on, Vulcan, Rory urged him. But Vulcan couldn't break through. Bo spoke up. I could have shoe blast through the rocks with water. Anna frowned. What if it doesn't work? Then the tunnel will fill with water. Everybody was quiet. Anna was right. They knew Anna was right. They were stuck. Drake looked at Worm. Sorry I got you into this, he whispered. Then Worm's green eyes started to glow. A green light swept from the top of Worm's head to the end of his tail. Drake jumped back. Worm? He felt something warm on his chest and looked down to see that his dragonstone was glowing too. Anna, Rory, and Bo's mouths dropped open. They stared at Worm and Drake. Worm's green glow filled the tunnel. Drake, it looks like your dragon is going to explode, Rory yelled. Worm's surprise. Worm didn't explode. Instead, the dragon closed his eyes. Then the rocks blocking the tunnel began to shake. What's happening? Bo yelled. Is Worm doing that? Asked Anna. And this is chapter 15. I think he is using the power of his mind, Drake said. He wasn't sure how he knew. He just did. Rory, Anna, and Bo stepped back. The rocks kept shaking. Then, poof! The rocks broke up into tiny pieces. The rock dust filled the air. Drake coughed, waving the dust away with his hands. All of the fallen rocks were gone. The tunnel was clear again. Drake hugged Worm. You did it, Worm. We should get out of here before Vulcan sneezes from all the dust, said Rory. The last time he sneezed, he turned my bread into toast. Rory's right, said Bo. Let's get out of here. Drake stepped through the pile of rubble and found himself face to face with Griffith. Simon the guard stood behind Griffith. You're all in big troubles, the wizard said. The whole castle is awake, and King Roland is furious.